All right, Coach. Heck of a weekend for your program, claiming your 8th tournament championship. Obviously, as you see right there on the table, and you were awarded the 3rd seed in the South Central Regional. Of course, we can talk about that in just a moment. Let's just talk about this past weekend. Of course, single elimination. So you swept through the tournament and took down Kingsville with a little late drama in that final game. Just kind of walk me through the weekend for your program.
Well, just super proud of our girls for what they were able to accomplish this week. After having a little bit of a rough weekend the weekend before at WT, to be able to turn around and go back up there and win this trophy and bring it back home. And start off with Lubbock Christian, Madison Ruiz, and Addie Ewing were both phenomenal. I think we 3 hit them, if I'm not mistaken, had 2 home runs, if I'm not mistaken, out of Zoe Cifuentes in that game. So Tatiana hit another home run. She's just been on a great streak here lately, and big win, big way to open up the tournament. It's hard to beat somebody 5 times, but that's what happened. So great way to start it. And then game 2 we had Tyler. Another team that's been playing really well lately, and Madison Ruiz was phenomenal. She just threw a complete game. Again, I think it was a 4 or 5 hitter, something like that. Don't remember the big hits right now, to be honest with you, but 4-1, if I'm not mistaken, final, 3-1 final. So that was a big win for us, and to get us into the championship game. And Tyler was the team that knocked us out of the semis last year, so it was nice to be able to get that back and get the win this year to get us into the championship game. A little bit of an upset, I guess you could say, on semifinal Friday, where Kingsville beat WT. They actually shut them out 4-0, if I'm not mistaken, 5-0. And so they had a really big weekend. They beat Oklahoma Christian in game 1 and then beat WT. So we were, I had people texting me, hey, you got, congrats, you're getting Kingsville instead of, be careful what you ask for here, because, obviously they just beat Oklahoma Christian and WT. They're not going to just lay down. And Addie Ewing was phenomenal. Doing her thing, hitting her spots, getting the ball down on the ground. We played really good defense behind her. Turned a double play in a good situation there. Had a huge out at the plate. Tatiana and Abby, connected to throw a girl out at the plate in the first inning, which was big. Don't even remember the hits now. We scored somehow. I know the last one was on a walk to make it 5-1. Somebody help me out. How we score?
So Abby Brand was responsible for your
first inning.
RBI, 2 RBI single and a RBI double in the 5th. Cameron Leffler single through the infield in the 5th.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kylie Forney, our basically on the block.
Abby, we loaded them up there in the first inning. We don't get the hit that we were hoping that we could get out of Ashley, and then Abby steps up with 2 strikes and gets a base hit up the middle, a little lazy line drive that falls in front of their center fielder, who made a diving attempt, couldn't get to it, scored 2, so that was big. We threw them out in the top of the first to prevent them from scoring, then we get the big 2-out, 2-strike hit to get all momentum on our side, and then Abby had another big double later. She had a great weekend. Super happy for her. She didn't even make all conference, which, is a shame that girl can't even make at least 3rd team all conference or Gold Glove. So that was disappointing the night before. So we made light of it. I started calling her 4th team. Maybe your 4th team all conference. So we just kind of made lighthearted of it, lighten the mood with her a little bit instead of her being down. We just joked about it. So good job, 4th team. You did good. And big way, and then get us, Addie was just great. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. She was great. They had a big pinch hit home run there in the 7th inning on a long at bat where the girl fouled off a bunch of balls, and then finally connected with one, and then she bounced right back. Kylie made a really good play on their leadoff hitter to finish the game, and the dog pile commenced. So that was a lot of fun.
We've talked about this throughout the year, but now that you're the All-Star Conference champs, that we revisit the subject. Coming into the year, you had a very new-look lineup, one that unlike any other team you'd seen before. Just talk about this team's growth since day one. What are you most proud of now that you're conference champs? Just reflecting the whole journey since day one.
Well, man, that could be a really long answer, so I'll try to just keep it short. But we talked about it in our very first meeting about we've got to come together, and where you were last year is where you were last year. We're here now, and we got to make this work, and we need to make it work quick. And we had a great fall. I think Coach K and I kind of put together a plan that worked. About every day we gotta introduce, and we got to introduce. We can't throw it all in at once. It's just got to be a gradual learning process. So there was a lot of things that happened early in the fall where we had to bite our tongue. The returners, we talked to them about bite your tongue. We can't throw everything in at once, or it's just going to get lost. So there's going to be times where Cameron, you're going to want to say, hey, Tati, you just bite your tongue and let us develop our coaching plan here into how to implement all the things that we do. We have time. Fortunately, we're not a fall sport, so we do have that fall to be able to introduce everything, and it worked. They just gradually picked it up, and they give a lot of credit to the girls. They did a really good job of taking it in. Did we make mistakes? Sure. Later in the fall, did we? But we ended our fall with Tarleton, and that was a little bit of intentional. Let's try to finish our fall with Tarleton because we don't want to play them early. They're a Division I team. They have a lot of returners back, so we wanted to gradually kind of wait and let us introduce everything and then finish the season. We went out and beat them 12-4, and that's when it was like, okay, this is coming together really good, and to be able to go, our opening tournament in Houston and play a Southeastern team who had a lot of returners as well, and we played with some nerves, but we won. Beat Mississippi College, beat St. Martin's, who had a scrappy little team. So had some big wins there, and it just has been, you could just see the confidence growing, and to the point where here we are now. We had a couple of setbacks this year that were disappointing. The UTPB loss, the 1-0 to Texas Women's. You think that you should be able to, if you hold a team to one run, you should be able to win that game, but we didn't. But luckily, we didn't let those things compound on us, and that we didn't turn a bad loss into another bad loss. And we were able to bounce back all year, and I just feel like we're playoff ready.
It really does seem like y'all are playoff ready. Seems like y'all are hitting y'all stride perfectly here. Seems like on offense, the key hit comes from a different girl every game. Just talk about the offense and how it's come together.
Well, we've been really good up and down the lineup 1 through 9 all year. We didn't really get a whole lot out of the bottom. Now Taylor Haywood had a pretty good weekend. Cameron did finally get a base hit there, that a little dribbler really that was perfect. As a kid with speed, and she just got on top of it and dribbled it right down the first base line with Abby on third. So there was no play for the first baseman to make, but we didn't get 7, 8, 9 can be better than it was this week, and I think they will be. But you're right, Carly didn't have the first 2 games in the leadoff spot that were very good, and then she goes 4 for 4 in the championship game. Carly, was good all weekend. Tati was good all weekend. Zoe was good until the championship game, and she's got to figure out Kingsville. They've gotten her to chase, so obviously that's something that we're going to talk to her some more about this week, is quit chasing the rise ball up. And she hadn't done it all year, but for whatever reason, she's doing it with Kingsville. So I think we'll get a better version of Zoe this week. Ashley had big at-bats. Abby was massive all weekend. She had a great tournament. And, we're going to need all that again moving forward. So a very tough regional, but one that I think that, we're going to a facility that we've played at, 5 games in the last 2 weekends, so we're familiar with it. So is Kingsville now, so we'll see.
Coach, walking us through those final 2 innings from a pitching perspective, obviously that's when Kingsville really start that potential danger of it all, and then of course the 2-run home run in the 7th. From your perspective, was there always fully trust in Addie Ewing there, or was there any thought of maybe going to maybe Ruiz or whoever else that you may have?
There's probably always too much trust in Addie Ewing. I mean, she's just been great all year for us, and yes, it was hot. She's not much of a 7-inning type kid this year. We haven't done that a whole lot. But, you know, we talked about it. You know, we've used our roster so that we're not burnt out here at the end of the year. And I think it's working. You know, she was able to finish that game because she wasn't exhausted from having to pitch complete games all season. So it kind of works both ways. Well, which one's better? Have her used to doing it or have her fresher where she's able to get through it? And I guess it was able to get through it. But we had Maddie ready to go, and I was ready to pull the trigger at any point, but the wind was kind of blowing out, and I was like, you know what? Luckily, we have that 5-run cushion, and yeah, they get that. Okay, it's still a 2-run cushion. All we need is 1 out. There's a lot of things that have to go really perfect for them to be able to tie this thing up. And luckily, Kylie made a really good play. Their leadoff hit a ball hard up the middle, and she was able to get the glove to it and throw her out. If not, we may have made the switch. But you know, anytime you got a kid up there throwing that drop ball over and over and over, it's hard to hit a home run. And you know, we just felt comfortable in her getting us more ground balls, and luckily she was able to get one more for us.
And of course, with your championship, you clinch your 20th time that you'll be going to the NCAA tournament program history and being the 3rd seed in this week's South Central Regional. Of course, making, as you mentioned, another trip to Canyon. Of course, facing a familiar opponent with Texas A&M Kingsville. Let's just start off on the way. What's your thoughts on the 3rd seed and that matchup with the Javelinas?
Well, the seeding is disappointing. There's no doubt. You know, for the Lone Star School not to have the #1 seed is disappointing. I'm not saying it should have been us, but I feel like WT should have been. You know, when Colorado Christian goes out and beats a team that's not ranked and then loses in the championship game at home on their home field 8-2, and it's the 3rd loss in 2 weekends for them, I just felt like that they should have fell to the 2 spot and WT should have jumped to the 1 spot. So WT losing probably hurt us this week. You know, maybe it helped us last week. I don't really know, but it probably hurt us going into this week. But, you know, I felt like we would probably stay 3, possibly jump to 2, but I mean, I think the 3rd spot's probably what we have earned. And, but I was kind of, you know, thinking that it could have been Colorado, which would have just been something different, you know, something fresh, something different, instead of turning around going right back up to WT again. So that part of it, we kind of felt like it might play out that way, but you never really know until you know. So we kind of warned our players ahead of time and just expect to have to go back up there, you know, and we just went up there and won this and brought it home up there. We can go win another one. Of course, you know, a tough regional with Kingsville, who's been playing well all year really and playing well here late. Pueblo, you know, luckily we ended up with 1 Colorado school instead of 4 Lone Stars teams. So there will be 1 team there that is a new look for us. But, you know, obviously they're playing good. They've beaten Colorado Christian 3 games here in the last 2 weeks. They won their tournament championship. So they're feeling pretty good about life right now. But you know, they got WT first round, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's right back to the same thing that we just got through doing with Kingsville. We got to figure out a way to shut them down for 7 innings and get those big hits that we need. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be, you know, warm up there again, 90-something degrees again. So weather shouldn't be a problem as far as the cold and all that. A little bit of wind, just the same stuff you deal with up there all the time. And so anyway, we'll get on the bus Wednesday, go up there and practice and get after it on Thursday.
Fantastic, Coach. Thank you for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.